Hey, I hate to be that early on the intro, but I just needed to get online. I was reading that Arch Manning has committed to Texas with Steve Sarkisian as the coach. Now, kind of a fascinating turn of events there. Didn't see that coming. Want to check my audio? You could put an F in the chat, but no one's here, so that wouldn't do any good. I'll have to check it on my own. It's sad. I mean, I can tell you can hear me because I can see it's being recorded now. How are you? It's the 23rd of June. Who am I? I'm John Schenk. I'm the founder and managing broker of Deerwood Realty in St. Louis, Missouri. We're a small, I would say boutique real estate company. We help buyers buy homes and sellers sell theirs. But, you know, I do like to get on the internet. I do like to get in the live show category, and I do like to talk about real estate all the time. So we talk about that. We talk about some pop culture. There's commentary. You know, what you read and what is reality is two very different things. If you're not in the business every day, maybe you're not seeing the same things I'm seeing, and maybe we can talk about those things. So that's who I am. Who are you? I don't know. I don't know. The funniest thing I've seen recently is you're supposed to define your target audience on YouTube and then make content for those folks. And what I've learned is that I just want people that are breathing. Like, I'm good with that. So, you know, if you like real estate, I think that would help. But if you don't, and you just, maybe you hate real estate agents, and maybe you hate the whole industry, and I guess that's a reason to like me too, or subscribe or follow, whatever works for you. I just, in my own life, I can remember who I've paid attention to over time, and maybe how wrong some of those decisions have been, and how those people have changed over time. Kind of fascinating. But for me, if this is your time, if you think right now is the time that you want to be interested in real estate sales, if you want to be interested in the real estate agent life, the real estate broker life, at least from a normal fellow, I don't really have anything, you know, outstanding going for me, then you should probably watch. It's kind of fascinating. I tell you about what happens with my clients, and I tell you what happens with my offers, and I tell you what happens with you know what I do daily. So anyway, there's my pitch. Is it a convincing pitch today? I don't know. I think I could have done better. I could have said smash the like button, hit the notification bell. I see people do that all the time. I don't, you know, I'm having trouble just getting a live stream or a podcast out daily right now. I'm supposed to be doing this at 9 a.m. It's 3:30 today. Not doing real well with the timing. I don't know why that is, but, you know, well, I kind of know why it is. It's a little depressing in the old real estate market right now. Have buyers that want to buy, can't get their hands on anything. Have buyers who've left the market. Disappointing. And listings have been hard to come by. Listings have been really, really hard to come by. I don't know. I mean, I look at the signs. It's like, so one of the secrets about being a real estate agent, at least in Missouri, is your license number. The first four digits are the when you got your license. Mine's 2009. It starts. And so anytime I see someone with a real estate license earlier than mine, I tend to, you know, give them respect. When I see like 2021, 2022, new real estate agent, probably listing their parents' house or their friend. So anyway, listings hard to come by for me, have been hard to come by. I think my business would be tremendously better right now if I had a few listings. But it's just all been buyers, and I don't want to kick my buyers. I love my buyers, and I appreciate them sticking with me through this unprecedented time in the real estate market. Now, I've seen statistics, and we'll go over statistics that say that the market is slowed in other places. Maybe it has where you are. It has not really slowed, especially the type of buyers that I have. So many first-time home buyers, so many young people really being turned off by the home search process. What are we going to talk about today? I think that would be a good topic to bring up. We're going to talk about artistic swimmers. I didn't know anything about. I didn't know there was such a thing, but we actually have an artistic swimming team for the United States. We're going to talk about the dog show. We're going to talk about home buyer sentiment and, home builder sentiment, and it's low. And then that's true even with lumber prices being down. So what is that about? We're going to talk about people postponing the purchases of cars and houses due to inflation, although I think that's a little odd because we're talking about millionaire millennials, which, as you know, I don't like to put a title on people. I don't, but we're going to do it here. And then we'll talk about maybe some faux pas in being a neighbor or just generally a good person. And that should round out the show. If we get that far, I'll be pretty surprised. So I guess, it's what is today? Thursday? I did say it was Thursday earlier. It's Thursday. I think I'll give you my story of the day because I'm here. Last night, my wife asked me if I would like to take a walk with her after dinner. And of course, the answer was yes. It's hot here in St. Louis, but the humidity that we normally get hasn't been here yet. When it does arrive, it'll be a disaster and horrible. But anyway, she asked, and I said, sure. So my children have purchased some new tennis shoes for me. So my current tennis shoes are, the new ones. So I switched those to the new ones. And then my old tennis shoes, I moved to the utility tennis shoes. The utility tennis shoes are those shoes that I wear when I'm, outside cutting the grass, playing in the garden, those kinds of things. That's what the old shoes are for. I usually only keep one pair of old shoes, and these particular shoes I'd gotten with my wife when they weren't wanted by the son, weren't wanted because they were ugly. Maybe 6 to 8 years ago. Managed to wear them and wore them out. So now I have nice new work shoes. But unfortunately, as we were walking, the new shoes have caused a blister on the back of my heel. And wife says, are we going to we're going to get the shoes, take them back? And it's like, no, that was the first time I wore them. And they just need to get broken in. It takes time to break shoes in. And unfortunately, the socks that I need to wear with my shoes and shorts are not tall enough to cover the spot where there's rubbing going on. And so as I tell you this story now, I realized that when my wife told me this morning that I should kind of try to break in my shoes more, she meant I should wear just a regular pair of socks today and, wear the shoes around the house. I didn't catch that. And I'm telling you that now, right live on the stream. It just occurred to me. So will wife ask to go for a walk tonight? I think so. There's a certain time of the year where it's cool to walk, and then it's too cold to walk or it's too hot to walk. And right now, I think we're still in the time where it's okay to walk. How does that relate to housing? Well, we're not going to use the shoes, but we're going to say the weather does, I think, play a part in home buyers' patterns here in St. Louis. I think when you get into the dog days of August, buyers are less apt to want to go look at houses. I think that's fair. Plus, their kids are already going to be in school. So the market does kind of tail off. I think you normally have, as far as this year, you're looking at now it's 623. For me, the good part of my year will be over by July 30th, and maybe even earlier. And you say, well, why is that? Well, people buy houses for their kids to go to school. They've already made their choices, and now they're not interested. And then people sell their houses for the same reason. Most people sell their house because they want to move up. How do you move up in this market? How do you move up in this market? It's just impossible. The prices have increased so much that you can't, those people that had a $250,000 house, their house is worth 300. They didn't do anything to it. And if they want to move to another one, it's worth $450 to buy another one. So it's very hard to move up, very hard to get value in this market. I typically really, really hammer the value point with my buyers. Always. I think that's the most important thing. This is just what I think. So anyway, on these shoes, so now I need to, I don't know. I know I'm going to get invited to go for a walk tonight, and I don't know what I'm going to do here with this foot. It's kind of disappointing. I wanted to talk a little bit about, why, on the outside right now, anyone would have to ask the question, John, why are you doing this? Why do you continue to do the program? There's no subscribers. I mean, I have 13 subscribers. There's no views. No one's watching it. Why do you keep doing it? And I'll tell you something. I'll share a little secret part of my life. I used to love talk radio when I was growing up. I don't know how to explain it, but talk radio when I was growing up was just fantastic. There was sports talk radio, and then there was political talk radio. The sports talk radio, guys could go on for hours and hours talking about pitching matchups, possible pitching matchups, injuries. Like in the NHL, you can't even talk about your injuries. It's either an upper body injury or a lower body injury. And then you have the ability to guess what the injury might be, speculate. You can spend an hour talking about it. The politics stuff was fantastic when I was growing up. But I think a lot of that's gone now. No offense. I don't know who's listening to terrestrial talk radio on the sports side or on the politics side. I think it's gone away. And it's not that I want to bring it back, but I always thought that, a talk show related to real estate and to be able to put one together that people might actually view at some point in time would be great. And now I'm looking at it almost as a service. So two things. So as a service, that is, I feel like when I bought my first house, I didn't have all the information I needed, or I didn't have the understanding that I needed. And that actually caused me to be a real estate agent in the first place. So I always wanted to try and help, especially first-time home buyers. I always wanted to help people get on the right financial footing. If they're starting their lives, we call them life moments. Maybe kids are coming, things of that nature. I wanted them to buy something that had good value, that didn't penalize them over the years, didn't make them hate the whole idea of real estate. Because owning real estate passively, just staying in a property, maintaining it, has shown over the years to be a pretty good deal. Now, some high-level accountants, some high-level people will tell you that owning a house is stupid. You should always rent. Maybe for those people. I mean, it's all about a strategy, and it's a question of how can you keep going. So that's as a service, and this is as an homage, okay, as a thank you to all the people that I listened to growing up. I realize I'm not in their shoes. I'm not close to being as talented as they are, but the hope is that I can perhaps get better over time and have that captivating audience, and then to add the chat. To be able to add the chat is something that we didn't see during talk radio back when I was growing up. And one of the things on the talk radio that I found most amazing is the ability to take a topic and discuss it live right at the moment, and not screw up. I'm not that good. I don't even know if I can say a sentence without putting a like in there or an ill-timed pause. And then sometimes things go through my head so fast I don't remember what I said just the moment earlier. So anyway, that's why I'm doing it. Am I going to make $1 million doing this? No, unfortunately. The audience isn't there. The pay isn't there. But I just feel like, gosh, if you did get a chance to watch one of my videos and learn something, I think you'd be better off for it. So that's my value proposition. So I think the best thing to do, we're a couple minutes in now, I think the best thing to do is just get started. You guys know that I love, let's see, this is why I'm not a professional. I'm just going to change things right away. I did want to speak out about something that I'm seeing in the world, at least in the reporting, and I wanted to go over it with you because I don't know how to respond to it. Yesterday, I was looking at the news, and the Baltimore Ravens had a linebacker that had passed away at the age of 26. I don't think they listed a cause of death, and I kind of let it go. I was, anytime someone dies unexpectedly, I mean, even expectedly, it's just a bad thing. So that was terrible. And then I learned that Tony Saraguza passed away at age 55. He was also on the ball. I thought he was on the Indianapolis Colts as well, but he was I don't know. I don't want to say anything bad about him or anybody else. But just this dying, all of a sudden is strange to me. I feel like it's something that should be looked into, or it's just being reported more. I don't know the answer. I just like, it seems like every day, 2 or 3 people just check it out at like young ages. And sometimes they're athletes and they say, well, they trained really hard and that's why. But I just don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure if more people are dying now than they were before, but like this sudden death thing probably should be looked into by the authorities. And I'll let you try to figure out what's going on. I know that when people pass, like and they're older, you say, well, they had a good life. And then when your life is cut short, it's just, and also your quality of life matters. These are things when you're younger that you don't pay any attention to. I mean, none. But, at the age of 45, as of June 18th, I look at these things and I get upset. It's like, my gosh, like, what is going on? Why are these people passing? And then, it's just terrible. So I did want to talk about that for a minute. I just don't like to, I just don't like to see this type of thing going on. Like it affects me much worse now than when I was younger. So anyway, I did want to get that out of there. Now, let me get into the first article. I think we're going to go here, and then we're going to go here, and then we're going to go here. I thought this was interesting. I just want to double check and make sure it's there. Okay. I thought this was interesting. I thought we should go over it because it's just a wild story. It says, when a U.S. swimmer sank to the bottom of a pool, her coach jumped in to save her. Now, this was in Google search trends. It's something I was looking at. It says a U.S. artistic swimmer. Now, I don't know what that means. Anita Alvarez was finishing her routine in the solo free final at the World Aquatics Championships on Wednesday when the two-time Olympian suddenly sank to the bottom of the pool unconscious. Well, that's not good. That's not good. It says Team USA coach Andrea Fuentes immediately took action, diving into the water. Fuentes, who won Olympic and world medals for her native Spain, sprinted to reach Alvarez, hugged her from behind, and kicked off of the pool floor, sending them towards the surface. And so here we have this, again, artistic swimmer. There's a Team USA coach, so this is like a national team. Solo free final. So she's the only one in the pool, and she sank to the bottom of the pool unconscious. The coach said, I saw that lifeguards were not jumping into the water because they were paralyzed. I was shouting at them from the other side to get into the water. Now I saw them looking dumbfounded, so I jumped in the water and I headed straight towards her. Fuentes said, according to El País, citing an interview with a Spanish radio station. Now, this is the coach, and she's like watching her star athlete fall unconscious onto the bottom of the pool. And so she just jumps in. Lifeguards weren't doing anything. They didn't even notice. I think that's kind of weird. Like, you have one job. There's one person in the pool. I saw how she was sinking, and I swam as fast as I could. I did the fastest free dive of my life, faster than when I was preparing for the Olympics. It says the two were then helped to the side of the pool, where Alvarez was placed on a stretcher. Okay, so here it says Team USA coach Andrea Fuentes brings Anita Alvarez from the bottom of the pool in the 2022 World Aquatics Championships in Budapest. So we're in Hungary. Team USA competing in Hungary. It says the scary situation and dramatic rescue prompted an outpouring of concern and admiration for the coach's quick thinking. I think that's true. I think that is reasonable. Fuentes extended her thanks on Thursday, saying in a posting on the team's Facebook page that Alvarez is feeling much better with normal vital signs and oxygen and sugar levels. What Alvarez experienced is similar to what athletes in other high-endurance sports sometimes go through. Now, I don't know. Our sport is no different than the others. Just in a pool, we push through limits, and sometimes we find them. Like, have you seen the guys do the marathons, or the girls, and they like their little muscles like twitch, and they just like. So I mean, I've seen that, and then unfortunately, we've had people pass away in football. We had at Mizzou. Not that I'm an alumni or anything, but I did follow them. Football. There was a guy that passed away a while back. During training. I don't know though. It just seems like I've never heard of this thing in a pool before, but I don't even know what this artistic swimming is. I don't know if they've changed the name to something like that I used to know. It says in Budapest. Oh, I could have just read there and it would have told me. Alvarez, this girl is 25 years old and now has passed out in a pool while she was doing her work. It says has competed in 7 events, 4 preliminary swims, and 3 finals across 6 days. She's also up to compete in Friday's free team final, but USA Artistic Swimming, like that's the federation, I guess, says the question of whether she'll swim in that event will be determined by Anita and expert medical staff. It says Alvarez is a core member of the U.S. Artistic Swimming Squad. She competed for Team USA in Rio and Tokyo. And in 2001, she was named USA Artistic Swimming's Athlete of the Year. But you would think it would be a swimmer of the year. I mean, I'm not saying she's not an athlete, but I stretch. Swimmers that's hard to do. I give them all the credit. But here's what I thought was interesting. It says Alvarez has fainted in the pool before. In fact, when it happened at last summer's Olympic qualifiers in Barcelona, it was Fuentes who saved her. Similar to this week, Alvarez was competing at a grueling workload. She later said she was affected by a lack of rest and conditions at the pool. Now, I don't know what the conditions at the pool would, like, what would that, I don't know. She said, I honestly thought I was asleep. I started hearing people say it's going to be okay. I thought, stop telling me that. I'm trying to sleep. Then I realized, no, I was still in the pool. So this poor girl is just passing out in the pool. She's like the best athlete voted for in 2021. And it's just like, it's just a bizarre story. Her coach seems to be the only one that notices when she passes out in the pool. Like, I don't know anything about this, okay? Understand, like, I know nothing, but this just seems like I don't know, maybe people should watch her more closely when she's in the pool. For an athlete, I mean, they probably train every day, and they look, the type of training done, like when I went to school in the mid 90s, totally different, I suspect, than the training that's done now. I mean, as an example, my kids, they go to the gym. One's 13 and one's 17. They're going to the gym like every day. That's the summer. I get it. But I mean, when I was in high school, yeah, I went to the gym. I did have a gym membership, but it was like, it wasn't cardio. Cause I mean, maybe it's different because it's a girl. They're girls, but I mean, I thought this was amazing. I mean, you've got lifeguards there and they don't notice that your swimmer is in the, I mean, that doesn't say much for the lifeguards. It's an odd story. I'm glad she didn't pass away or anything like that. I just think it's kind of interesting. I'm going to continue. We're going to try and lighten it up a little bit. It says, meet the pups headed to the Westminster Dog Show. Now, I thought the dog show was like at a certain time. I don't remember what it was, but we used to watch it. I don't remember. It says the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show is afoot, which marks one of the few events where we can ogle photos of adorable dogs and feel kind of classy about it. I don't know. I like a picture of a good dog. I'll say it. I don't feel like less of a person because I like to look at dogs. I mean, the whole premise of a zoo is looking at animals. I don't CNN saying that they feel classy about anything's dicey proposition. So far, 4 finalists have been picked. These fine specimens will be joined by 3 others for Wednesday night's finale, where one outstanding canine will be crowned best in show. I thought they did this during Christmas or something, or New Year's. I don't know. Fans of televised bathroom accidents and people in suits staring pensively at dog underbellies. I don't know about that. This is like fans of dog shit, basically what they're saying. And I don't know, it's just iffy. Can catch all the heart-stopping action on the Westminster Club website, or FS1. Hey. Now on to the dogs. The WKC recognizes 211 different breeds of dog. That seems like a lot. Did you know that? 211 breeds of dog. And the whole point of the competition is to find the dogs that adhere most to their breed standards. Hence all the underbelly scrutinizing. The show's finalists represent The show's finalists each represent the best of 7 groups of dog breeds: herding, hound, non-sporting, terrier, toy, and working. While the 4 dogs already set to head to the final may vary in size, 2 virtues bind them together. They're all very good at being the types of dogs they are, and they have excellent names. So there's a comedic twist to the article. It says in the hound group, Trumpet, it says, bloodhounds are one of the oldest breeds of dogs that hunt by scent. A discovery by a trained bloodhound can even be used in a court of law. The American Kennel Club describes the ideal bloodhound expression as noble and dignified and characterized by solemnity. I think I did that one right. Wisdom and power. Trumpet has nailed it. So there's Trumpet. Non-sporting group, Winston. Winston, a classic French bulldog name for a classy guy, according to the Westminster Kennel Club. Frenchies don't have a lot of, useful skills, but they make up for it by being cute. Most French bulldogs excel at being friendly, loving clowns whose raison d'etre is to be adored. I don't know what that is. I may have said it wrong. I apologize. Their breed description says, Winston's smiling little face has certainly gotten him far. Also, one of Winston's owner is a defensive lineman. That counts as a skill for him as well, right? Toy group. Oh, look at that. A Maltese. Oh, it's a beautiful dog. Hollywood looks like she thinks she's better than anyone else, and she's right. Toy dogs are bred for human companionships and laps of luxury. The WKC Maltese breed description says they have been popular pets amongst royalty for centuries due to their elegance and beauty. Hollywood star that she is bested several other toy beauts, including Porsche, the first Russian toy dog to make it to the semifinals. I'm going to check that link. But on this paid content, I wanted you to see that the Missouri governor will cover the cost to install solar if you live in St. Louis. That's not the governor there. Governor's a dude. His name is Mike Parsons, I think. Herding group, River, German Shepherd. We have a German Shepherd at the house. Doesn't look anything like this dog. Our dog is dumb and a mutt. Kind of a husky mix. And the kids love him. I tolerate his existence because I don't have a choice. Would not have been my first choice for dogs. German Shepherds are favorites in the herding group, and it's easy to see why. Not only are they extremely smart and enthusiastic, they can be trained for work in law enforcement and the military, and yet the WKC Westminster Kennel Club points out that they're also family-friendly and make great service dogs. A German Shepherd named Rumor won the World Kennel Club's Best in Show in 2017. Can River vie for a repeat? I don't know. I was trying to learn more, like, what do they eat? Like, how do they get taken care of? I mean, I didn't really get that in this article. I'm not complaining about the article. Let's look at this. Let's look at this article here. I don't know. Oh, look at that. This is the Westminster Kennel Club breeds and the Russian toy. Now, that looks like a miniature pinscher to me. But what do I know? It looks kind of like my parents' dog, also a mutt. Sure, I'll agree with the terms and service. It says a small, squarely built toy dog that is elegant, athletic, and cheerful. A favorite breed of the Russian aristocracy, the Russian toy can have a smooth or long coat. Their large round eyes and high-set ears contribute to their bright, attentive expression. They are known for their playfulness and devotion as companion dogs, enjoy participating in a wide variety of dog sports. What's a dog sport? Or snuggling in your lap. Some pictures of, there's what one looks like that's Some of those are ugly. And that's an odd looking dog. Huh. I don't know. I don't know about you. Do you feel better about learning about dogs? Now, why are we talking about dogs on a real estate show? Well, I just want to be more well-rounded. If we just talked about real estate all the time, we'd be kind of bored. So we talk about dogs and swimmers that sink to the bottom of the pool that are professionals. Let's move on. Deer Wood Realty website. If you're in St. Louis, I suggest you take a look at it. You can see listings there. I did make a meme. I did kind of want to go. I did kind of want to go over this. Now I'm sorry, I got a text here and I got so what do we got here? The 30-year fixed dropping. Why is that? The Fed raised interest rates. We saw a huge spike into the sixes. It was just a disaster for me. I mean, it was already bad, but like now we're going to slow the housing market. That's not good for me at all. Well, my buyers can't afford anything now. It's already gotten to that level. It's weird. I mean, we're down now 5.75%. That's off from 5.88%. I don't know why the rates are going down. I have no idea. Unless the market believes that the Fed can no longer raise rates. Sorry. I know I have a live stream, but I also have clients, and sometimes they want to chat, and I don't blame them. So anyway, I love giving advice to people that, they know more than I do. I don't know. I try. So anyway, with 5.75, is it high? Yes, but it's better than like 6.10, 6.18. I just know that it's odd. We have the situation where no one's going to refinance into like 6% rates. I mean, when people had 2%, 3% rates, they're like, I'm refinancing this. And now it doesn't make any sense. So that whole market is gone. And then, everything just seems to be so locked up. So I think, like I said, I'm frozen. I mean, my buyers are in a spot where they can't sell their stuff. The stuff that they want to buy is too out of price range for them, and it's just a mess. So anyway, I just wanted to show you the rates are coming down. There is an argument to be made, and I am loath to get out there on a limb, but there's an argument that says, and you and me are here, right? So there's this argument that's been floating around for months, okay, that says inflation is high, okay, and the Fed was late to the party, which they were. One argument to they were late to the party is that they don't control spending. Congress controls spending. So, like, what could they have done? I don't want to get into the arguments for what they should have done during the pandemic, because I don't want to get booted off of YouTube, because I don't know what YouTube's rules are from day to day. It's not clear to me. There's been an argument, though, that says that the Fed will raise rates, shock the system, and then find out when unemployment gets jacked up through the roof that the only way they can continue forward is to lower rates, which will not tame inflation, which means inflation will run rampant. You'll get essentially a stagflation economy. Not good. I think, to me, and I've been railing on this since before January, at least, inflation is the worst, is the tax on the American people. It's the worst thing you can do for everyone. It causes all kinds of problems, and the Fed has one job, and they blew it. And I don't want to get into, like, people say, well, it's so-and-so's Putin's price hike. It's not. It's the United States spending. People say, oh, the world is enduring inflation, so therefore it's not. No. We live in the United States. If we're supposed to be the beacon, if we're supposed to be the true number one economy in the world, then we should be able to fix this issue. We don't need to look at other countries. We can just say, hey, this is what needs to be done. But part of that says maybe we're not. Anyway, will the housing market, a fair question is will the housing market, I'll even go to here. A fair question is, will the housing market, if they lower rates, what will that do? Well, we've already seen tremendous issues with supply. We have very bad issues with inventory. Lower the rates and cause more buyers to come out of the woodwork. Seems like price would go up again. I mean, I don't, where in my thesis is that going to, where house price is going down if the Fed lowers rates again, due to them killing the economy? I don't know. People ask me, John, like, should I buy a house now? And it's like, to me, I know this sounds bad. even when I started in 2009, house prices were expensive. For what you got, I thought the house prices were expensive. When I work as a buyer's agent, I think that house prices are expensive. Always. It's not unusual. Like if somebody puts, like, say somebody puts a list price of an asking price of $150,000 on a house, I'd like to buy it for $140,000. That's my mindset as a buyer's agent. I don't think that it's wrong to tell you my bias. When I work as a listing agent, then I look at what's sold in the market that's similar. And if our house is better, then I'm going to put a higher price tag on it than some other houses. It's two different mindsets to me. And they both live comfortably in my head. So, I mean, this is from a 45-year-old who's not always had success. There's people that are more successful than I am by far. I would say if you think that you need to buy a house, if your life depends on you buying a house, and I mean that, like, say you're getting married, or say you're having children, or say there's just a definite, say you're moving for work. Okay. And the idea of renting in this market seems stupid to me. Rents are stupid high. You're not gaining anything by renting. Okay. So should you buy a house? Yes, but please understand that the minute that you buy the house, the market could change tomorrow and your house could be worth less. It's not going to zero. Okay. Like we had the Great Recession or whatever the hell it was. Prices didn't go to zero. People did get stuck in houses that were ridiculous, but those houses, like, I didn't get the listing, but I was working with a woman. She had bought a house the year of the Great Recession. I had too. Okay. I had to. She bought a 1-bedroom home with a failing basement, like, for a stupid price. That would never have been a good price to buy that house for. The reason why is it didn't have any, that's the word I'm looking for. It's fine, but you can't pay a premium for something that's limited, like it's got a limited market. So if she'd have bought a 2-bedroom, would have been better than a 1-bedroom. And if she'd have bought a 3-bedroom, it'd been better than a 2-bedroom. And if she had bought a house that was structurally sound, she would have been better off. But none of those things applied to her situation. And so she's had to wait until now to try and sell this house and get out from underneath it. And and she wants to make a profit. That's fine. I feel like when I bought this house, it was expensive. I'll never forget, one of the neighbors came over and said, did you really pay this for that house? And I said, yes. And they said, well, you're an idiot. I said, well, okay. Nice to meet you too. Years later, that man sold his house, or tried to sell his house, couldn't sell it, and really took a beating on his sale. And then I got my revenge, because if I try to sell my house tomorrow, I'm going to do fine. And I think he might be dead. Not that I'm wishing ill on anybody. I'm just saying. So if you're going to buy a house, buy something that, you're going to live in for a while. People need shelter, right? People need housing. It's a requirement. It's a requirement. So anyway, I've given you what I think. Oh, shoot. I hit the wrong button. I'm sorry. There. Let's keep going. Let's get to the right page. Saw this article, thought it was interesting. I don't care about the market. It says homebuilder sentiment drops to lowest levels in 2 years as housing demand slows. So what's this about? Housing demand is slowing? Not here. maybe when you price homes that are ridiculous prices to start with, that could be a problem. You know, I mean, the 1,400 square foot house at $700,000, you know, that's tough on a crappy lot. It says builders have grown more pessimistic about the state of the housing market. Sentiment, which has fallen for 6 straight months, is getting hit by higher interest rates. Mortgage demand has fallen to less than half of what it was a year ago. Still strong. Still strong. Again, I still have buyers really want to buy stuff. It's really, really difficult. Sentiment among the nation's home builders fell for the 6th straight month to the lowest level since June of 2020, when the economy was grappling with shutdowns stemming from the COVID pandemic. The National Association of Home Builders, Wells Fargo Housing Market Index, fell 2 points to 67 in June. Anything above 50 is considered positive. The index hit 90 at the end of 2020 as the pandemic spurred strong demand for larger homes in the suburbs. Of the index's 3 components, buyer traffic fell 5 points to 48, the first time it has fallen into negative territory since June of 2020. Current sales conditions fell 1 point to 77, and sales expectations in the next 6 months fell to 2 points to 61. Now, this is among home builders. New homes. Some new home builders thought it would be great to get rid of real estate agents or to not treat us very nicely. That's probably not helping. I'm just saying. We know people that want to buy houses. You'd think you'd be nice to us, and you say, "Well, we don't want to pay your commission." It's like, well, we brought you the buyer. Maybe you should. 6 consecutive monthly declines for the HMI is a clear sign of a slowing housing market in a high inflation, slow growth economic environment, said NAHB Chairman Jerry Counter. Okay. The entry-level market has been particularly affected by declines for housing affordability, and builders are adopting a more cautious stance as demand softens with higher mortgage rates. Well, where is there an entry-level home that you can buy for less than $450,000? Who's building them? No offense to anyone. No, I mean, I understand why you would not build entry-level homes for people. I get that. But I don't know why we're talking about it, because it doesn't exist. The average rate on the 30-year fixed has risen sharply since the start of the year. In January, it was right around 3.25%. And on Tuesday, it hit 6.28%, according to Mortgage News Daily. Yeah, it was ridiculous. Ridiculous. Mortgage demand has fallen to less than half of what it was a year ago. Builders also continue to face supply side challenges. It says residential construction materials are up 19% year over year, with cost increases for a variety of building inputs except for lumber, which has experienced a recent decline due to housing slowdown. Regionally, on a 3-month moving average, sentiment in the Northeast fell 1 point to 71. In the Midwest, it dropped 6 points to 56. In the South, it fell 2 points to 78, and in the West, it dropped 9 points to 74. What I'm seeing with new homes is this: like, they started with a price, okay? I mean, I'll tell you what I know. And if that's the worst thing, I'm sorry. So there's these huge home developments, and then they started with one price, okay? And then because of demand and because of expenses, they raised those prices, okay? So now all of a sudden, you know, you could buy a house for $350 now, $375, $380, $390. And then, oh, you want a lot? And then the lot has to be like a nice lot, so you're almost always buying a premium lot, so that's $10,000, $15,000. Those went up. It was a bad situation. Bad situation. And I understand. I had a friend, and I still have a friend that wanted to buy a home in Florida, wanted to retire to Florida. And God bless him, he deserves it. He went and bought a lot to build on. The builder could not commit to a fixed price on the contract. The lot was expensive, I think over $100,000. Which is expensive for me now. If it's not, you know, depending on where you are in the United States, maybe that's not expensive for you. But, by the time he got done building, he was going to be at a higher number, way higher than what he could buy for. Although what he could buy for was also ridiculous because he was always going in over ask. And I think that he wanted to be in the 4s. He ended up being in the 5.5s. But he ended up selling his lot and making money after commissions. He owned it for 3 months. That's how crazy the market's been, especially in Florida. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. So we got this, and we got this line in here. It says, residential construction costs are up 19% year over year with cost increases for a variety of building inputs except for lumber, which has experienced recent declines due to a housing slowdown. Okay, well, let's look into that. It says lumber prices hover near recent lows. This is a Business Insider. It says lumber prices hover near recent lows as new home construction sinks and mortgage rates jump to the highest since 2008. Now, this was June 17th. It came out. It says, here's your bullet points. Lumber prices remain near recent lows as construction on new homes fell while mortgage rates jumped. Housing starts dropped 14.4% in May from the prior month to 1.55 million. Annualized rate is the lowest in more than a year. The average 30-year fixed rate mortgage climbed to 5.65 for the weekend of June 10th. They do an average most of the time, the highest level since 2008. Now, let's just talk about this one thing. Housing starts dropped 14.4% from the prior month to 1.55 million annualized. That's how many homes they're building. Could that possibly true? They're building that many homes per year in the United States. It's a lot. But we talk about how are we going to get out of this demand crunch? We have NIMBYism, this not in my backyard. And it's caused prices of new homes to be ridiculous. No offense to anyone. The problem is, if you don't have new houses being built over a 10-year span, you're going to have shortages, which causes prices to go up. And that's the terrible thing is we're seeing prices go up. It's a terrible thing. I wouldn't know, if we're not going to build new houses, that's not going to help with the situation that we talked about earlier. I don't know. So anyway, it says lumber prices remain near recent lows Friday as construction on new homes fell to the lowest in more than a year, while mortgage rates hit a 14-year high. So recent lows, by the way, that's not like lows from like 2 years ago. It says prices were hovering around $569 per 1,000 board feet, up less than 1% from Thursday after recently dropping to their lowest point in 9 months. It says lumber prices have tumbled. Do you remember, by the way, when the lumber prices were ridiculous? I got 2x4 was like $10. They have tumbled more than 60% from highs reached in March as the housing market cools in response to higher interest rates. On Wednesday, the Federal Reserve raised its benchmark rate 75 basis points, the largest hike since 1994, to tame skyrocketing inflation. It says the rise in interest rates is a stark turnaround from recent years when ultra-low borrowing costs spurred a spree of home buying and lending that sparked a sizzling housing market. But increasingly, central bank has sent mortgage rates up as well, making homes less affordable and dampening demand for building materials like lumber. I don't think that's true. I don't feel like, the lumber prices were going up ridiculous. Now you're saying that nobody wants to buy houses, which not in my market. Everyone wants to buy a house. It's ridiculous. It says the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage climbed 25 basis to 5.65. Again, we talked about it. It's not great, but it's better than 6 where it was just earlier this week. In addition, purchase applications have fallen more than 15% from a year ago. Well, part of that is people realizing that the houses are too expensive, like they can't afford them. says, meanwhile, new construction also down with housing starts dropping 14.4%. We talked about this. The amount of permanent applications, a favored metric of future construction projects, fell to a 9-month low of 1.7 million. I do think permanent applications are kind of important. I do trust that number. It says, Insider previously reported that 80% of buyers don't think it's a good time to buy a home in the current market. We covered that, and like I said, I mean, if you have to buy a home, go buy a home. You just know that it's going to maybe go down in value for a few years. The pessimism comes as Freddie Mac economists caution that the U.S. housing market could contract as aggressively as it did in 2006. So that's not good. I honestly, like, it's 2022. I honestly think that the housing market will go down. Prices will go down unless we have that scenario that I talked about, where the Fed lowers rates. But anyway, I don't think they're going to zero. And that's what I tell my buyers all the time. It's like, oh my God, what if we buy a house and it goes down in value? It's like, well, like if you bought a house just 2 years ago, you're probably going to be above water. But because of the inflation of house prices, so high, so fast. Anyway, just wanted to show you that article. Let's move on. I thought this was an interesting article as well. Millionaires are delaying home car purchases due to inflation. Now I don't understand. If you're a millionaire, why you're having issues with car purchases or buying a home due to inflation. You're a millionaire. Like, I just don't get it. So let's go. I'm not going to read the bullet points because I did it on the last article and it kind of ruined the article. It says millennial millionaires are temporarily shelving major purchases as interest rates and inflation rise. Nearly half of millennial millionaires say that higher borrowing costs are causing them to delay buying a car, and 44% say higher interest rates have caused them to delay purchasing a home. More than a third said inflation has caused them to delay a trip or a vacation. That's terrible. I hate when I'm not allowed to go on a vacation. The CNBC Millionaire Survey, which surveys those with investable assets of 1 million or more, suggests that inflation and rising borrowing costs are working their way up the wealth ladder. While inflation hits the middle class and lower class while inflation hits the middle class and lower income groups hardest, rising interest rates are starting to squeeze more affluent, younger consumers, especially for big ticket items. Are you saying that all people are affected negatively by inflation? Because they are. And the number one job of the government should be security, right? Should be security. It's not. Second should be the economy, should regulate the economy in the sense that they should control inflation. That's what the whole reason for the central bank is. Government's failing on all of its fronts, and we're watching it happen. Nobody says anything. Millionaires are clearly dealing with something they've never experienced, said George Walper, president of Spectrum Group, which conducts the survey with CNBC. As a result, they are changing their behaviors and spending plans. You're going to change your behaviors and spending plans due to inflation. There's no question. I mean, when I was a kid, gas was 81 cents a gallon, and that was in the 80s. Okay. And that was high. When it reached $1, people were just like going crazy. It's gone up like $2 in the past 6 months. It's not good. It says Spectrum Group and the survey consider respondents born in 1982 or later, those currently aged 40 and younger, to be millennials. Respondents born between 1948 and 1965, aged 57 to 75, were considered baby boomers. What am I, Generation X? I don't know. No one cares about my generation, which is fine. I'm okay. But we don't get stories written about us. Inflation and rising rates have created two separate but related spending constraints for affluent consumers. Inflation has driven up the prices of luxuries such as dining out, plane tickets, hotels, and even certain monthly subscriptions. According to the survey, 39% of millennial millionaires have cut back on dining out because of higher inflation. That's hard to believe. If you're a millionaire, you're not going out to eat as much. 36% have cut back on vacations, and 22% have cut down on driving. I have cut down on, well, obviously vacations. I'm not a millionaire. I've cut down on going out to eat. I've cut down on that. And then driving, I have cut down on. We used to go to Springs and stuff like that. We don't do that anymore, and it's sad. It says at the same time, the Federal Reserve's interest rate hikes have jacked up the cost to borrowing, especially for homes and cars. The central bank on Wednesday raised its benchmark rate and said another hike could come in July. It could. They could hike. They can keep doing it. I mean, there's no there's really nothing that how are you going to stop the Fed from doing whatever they say they're going to do? I mean, I mean, the Fed's appointed. Anyway, 2/3 of millennial millionaires are surveyed said that they are less likely than a year ago to borrow money due to higher interest rates. That compares with only 40% for baby boomers. 2/3. So what is that, like 70%? That's weird. Why would baby boomers be more likely to borrow money due to higher interest rates? 44% of millennial respondents said that higher rates have caused them to delay purchasing a new home, compared with only 6% of baby boomers. So are baby boomers fueling these high home costs? Should we blame the boomers? Nearly half of millennial millionaires said they are delaying purchase of a car because of higher rates, more than double the rate of baby boomers. If you're a millionaire, what are you doing buying a car? Why aren't you buying it in cash? Millennials are typically key drivers of sales growth for both home and cars. Millennials, like everyone else, are seeing that the mortgages they were looking at in January are now more than twice as much. The Millionaire survey was conducted in May before the Fed's latest rate hike. It surveyed approximately 750 respondents who reported that they are the financial decision makers or share jointly in the financial decision making within their household. Millennials appear more optimistic with their investments than older millionaires, however. 55% of millennial millionaires said inflation will last less than a year. They don't know what they're talking about. Who would think that? It says compared with nearly 2/3 of baby boomers who said it would last at least a year or two. 40% of millennials surveyed plan to buy more stocks as inflation accelerates, compared with just 11% of boomers. I mean, if you're buying stocks and you're financing a car, it doesn't make any sense. Millennials are also more sanguine about inflation's impact on their stock returns. Nearly 90% of millennial respondents are confident or somewhat confident in the Fed's ability to manage inflation. How dumb can you be? There is no way. There is no way you could actually. 90%? Oh my God. A stark contrast to the 38% of baby boomers who are not all confident. All I can think of is they've never seen bungling by the federal government before. I mean, how old would they have been during the last recession? More than 70% of millennial millionaires believe the economy was stronger, even much stronger at the end of 2022. 70% of people believe this. Can you believe that? I don't. I mean, that's insane compared with 2/3 of boomer who said it would be weaker or much weaker. Millennials also said asset markets will end the year higher than 2021 levels, a bullish show of confidence with the S&P down 20% for the year so far. So millennials are wrong. And I hate to say that. I mean, I don't want to attack a group of people, but they're just absolutely wrong. 58% of millennial millionaires said asset markets will end the year up at least 5%, with 39% expecting double-digit gains. By contrast, 44% of millionaire boomers expect the market to decline double digits. Kind of explains why there's such a divide in our politics. I mean, people believe there's the same movie on two different screens, as Scott Adams has put it. Wow. So what did we learn today? Well, we learned that artistic swimmers are athletes. We knew that, but they can get tired and overswim and sink to the bottom of a pool. We learned that the Westminster Dog Show is tonight, I think, the end. 30-year fixed mortgage rates down. We learned that homebuilder sentiment is lower. We learned that lumber prices are down because of it, but I don't think that they are. And then we learned that millionaire millennials are not thinking the same way as other people, for lack of a better way to put it. I've got no one in chat. I've got no one in, I mean, if you see this later, it'll be in the comment section. If you've made it this long through a video, would you please hit subscribe? You don't have to watch a video again, but my God, I'd be better. I mean, I have 13 subscribers. So, I mean, help me out. That's what I have for you today. Thank you for watching. I will catch you on the next.